Welcome to Varsity Voices. I'm James Johnson here at the Democrat and Chronicle Studios. And on my right is two-time state champion Frankie Gissendanner and Penfield wrestling coach John Leone. They are down here the day before a very special wrestling event that's taking place at two locations and for a very special cause. John, can you kind of set the stage here as far as what's going to take place tomorrow?
Yeah, absolutely, James, and thanks for having us in here. We really appreciate it.
Very glad to
Tomorrow is the 5th annual Takedown Cancer Wrestling Duals, and one event will be at Fairport High School, and it'll involve 4 teams: Rush, Henrietta, Fairport, Penfield, and Victor. And now we're very excited. We started a second location at Webster Thomas High School because there was a divisional change that allowed us to start 2 sites. That'll involve Churchville, Chili, Pittsford, and Webster Thomas High School.
My understanding is that this event has, you guys have generated maybe $20,000 in the 5 years it's taken place?
Correct. We're looking to go well over the 20,000 right now in the 5th year.
Wow, that is outstanding. How do you pull together the money? And Frankie, if you could kind of tell us how the wrestlers are involved in doing so, that'd be great too.
Well, the money's basically, the schools are so gracious. We collect all the gate money. There's t-shirt sales. Some of the teams go out and do some of their own fundraising. And what happens at the end of the event tomorrow, all that goes into one pot. And then all the monies go to Camp Good Days and Special Times, which on the first year we started this at Penfield 5 years ago, found a great place to donate the money to. And it's been such a great relationship. And as Frank could even say, we've had extracurriculars beyond even this Takedown Cancer Duals, where these guys have done a great job contributing to that charity.
How do the wrestlers get themselves involved, Frankie?
Thank you for this opportunity too. And the wrestlers really, we got to wrestle in essence, in that there's 3 teams there that instead of just worrying about the wrestling though, we worry about like the cause too. So even though the wrestling is going to be there, we got a rivalry, Fairport High School and everything, and the competition is still going to be there. We worry about the coach we're going to have, and like how fortunate we are and how we can have him have a great time being with us, because he might only have a short amount of years, and we just understand that. So we just make sure we know that life is just not just about wrestling and sports and all this stuff. Life is about giving back and having showing them that we are fortunate in having fun and very team camaraderie. Understandable.
And can you talk a little bit more about the honorary captains that are going to?
Yeah, after our first year, as I'd mentioned to you, the game between University of Rochester and football, we've kind of modeled it after that. So we wanted to start out with the honorary coaches. There's a great guy named Mark Bucci now, who's a representative with Camp Good Days. So he started matching up honorary coaches, which this will be the 3rd year of bringing in the honorary coaches. And all the teams have the kids, and they've been coming to practices. I believe ours will be there tonight, a guy named Danny. And as Frank was saying, the kids are real gracious. They create a bond with them. And then we have an opening ceremony tomorrow, and the kids will come out, and it's more than wins and losses, and it's become a great learning experience, hopefully, for these kids.
Now, during the matches, what do the honorary coaches do? Are they going to be sitting right there next to you?
Oh yeah, they get right in the action. Some might be a little bit leery and shy. I think I remember the Fairport kids last year, or maybe the Henrietta kids, they were getting into it. I mean, they were pointing and yelling moves out. Some of them have had wrestling experience. I believe the young man from Victor had some wrestling experience, and they have another young man that's a great side story that's back on their team that was diagnosed with cancer last year. So there are so many great little sub-stories that come out of this. And again, as Frank said, the kids hopefully start to realize how fortunate they are to go out and be able to compete and do the things that they do without being hindered.
How did the idea kind of develop? You said that your team unfortunately has had some experience with some unfortunate diagnoses.
Yeah, basically 5 years ago, to start our wrestling season at Penfield, we had 2 parents that within a couple weeks of each other were diagnosed with different forms of cancer. So we were a little bit awestruck and wondering what we could do, and some of our Takedown Club members there were very smart and said, why don't we start some kind of a fundraising event? I had known of the Takedown Cancer Duals theory that had been done in other models in the United States, and then again the Teddy football game and just kind of blended that. So we started the first year with just 3 teams, Rush Henrietta, Penfield, and Webster Thomas, and it was a home run. And then our comrades, even though they're our nemesis, tomorrow we're buddies kind of. Fairport joined in, and then after that it's kind of rolled, and some very good people have joined in to make it a success.
The day of the wrestling meets, Frank, what is it like? Is the atmosphere any different than a quote-unquote normal Saturday afternoon full of matches, or how does it, can you tell it's a little bit different?
Yeah, I feel like there's more love in the air, like it's more joyful. Instead of all like serious wrestling, it's like it's more like carefree, and like everybody knows that this is like a great cause and stuff like that. So it's just a little bit more love in the air and stuff like that. It's not all about just about to come and be opponent. It's like it's more like happiness and like and just love and the giving and the care.
Is there any comparison in that experience with your experience with Penfield's unified basketball? I understand you're a part of that.
Yes. It's kind of the same thing. It's just like the kid can't wrestle or whatever. But playing unified basketball, you could play with the kids that are special ed. So they play right with you, and they're probably talking smack right with you. They're having some fun. They shooting layups just like you shoot a layup. They don't have the maybe the same athletic ability, and that just teaches me that like the fortunate part. Like I'm very fortunate, and I'm blessed, and even he's blessed too. Just because he's special, he's blessed too. He just can't do the same thing we can do, and we just know the differences, and we just still can have fun all together.
Understandable. And speaking of blessed, you've put together a record of maybe I think 126-1 during the parts of these last 3 seasons. John, are we talking about a Hall of Fame wrestler here?
Certainly Frank has the potential, to go down as one of the greatest in the history in the area, and there's some really good guys that come out of this area. And it's been special to watch, but, as he knows that it's a process that you can never really get ahead of it because nothing's guaranteed in this sport or life, and he needs to understand that every day you have to treat that as its own special day, and when you get away from that process, some bad things can happen to you. And as he's matured, I think he really is starting to appreciate that stuff. So the sky's the limit, for him, and it's been a very special run. He's been a great leader and a great teammate for these guys, so hopefully we continue with that.
Frank, how difficult is it to keep that in mind day after day? You gotta pep it up, even though you may know what's going to happen at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, or at this point in practice and this point of the season. How do you keep from wanting to fast forward through a lot of stuff?
Just know that that time, it's the same time for me and the same time for somebody else, so that I can't take time for granted. And the things I work with within the next 2 hours, I might have to dig deep to get better than the kid that's not as good that can get better because he has a big gap. My gap shortens it. So now I gotta look into my 2 hours. Gotta be really defined, and really everything gotta be executed. And I might have to work a little harder because I already done stuff the same like 2 years ago. When in my first title, I gotta come up with new ideas, and then that just makes the sport better and fun. It makes it more fun for me because now that I'm already at a level of high success technically, looking at like the little percentages and knowing that I'm still getting better is still scary to think about in my head. And I honestly love it. It's just fun. This is fun.
What's on your checklist before you graduate from high school?
Well, I want to be able to win and produce 4 state titles. I want to be the first 6-time Section 5 state rep guy representing the Section 5. I also, after this wrestling season, I want to be able to make the road team trials, the cadet road team trials, and hopefully get a cadet championship. I think this year's in France, and it's in September, late August. So hopefully I can get on the team and make it there.
That has to be so exciting to be able to wrestle or compete at a world stage. I mean, you don't come across that too often. even in my line of work. So
Yeah, this year I was very fortunate enough. I took fourth at the road team trials. I kind of had I didn't have a really good tournament. I had an all right tournament, but I didn't have to where I can show all my abilities. But instead of being a baby about not like wanting to go try and just giving up, I instead went to the Cadet Nationals, which is in Fargo, North Dakota, and end up winning that tournament and put together a very good show.
that's the picture. You hold it up. Well, I want to really thank you for taking the time to come down, and appreciate it. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Be competitive, but keep that spirit in mind that you were talking about earlier. And I want to thank everyone for checking out our video, and check out more videos, I should say, at our website, democratandchronicle.com.